Hi everyone, today we are going to deal with another important webinar topic, that is improving employee satisfaction. So we need to ensure that in every organizations the employees' core demands or expectations have been met in order to make sure that their satisfying criteria have been met or not. So in this webinar topic we are dealing with some of the core factors or areas that the employees give prime importance to when it comes to make sure that at the end of the day they would meet that would make them feel more satisfied. So it is important to meet or attain the employee satisfaction levels in order to get the quality kind of work output from the employees. So if the employees are not satisfied with their work, their quality of work would be affected and their performance would indeed be affected as well. So in order to deal with this kind of an aspect, the company needs to identify what are the satisfying aspects when it comes to an employee when working in a company. So initially a company needs to conduct a survey where they will be able to understand what are the needs or aspirations of the employees who are working in the company or a department or working as a team. So say if a particular employee is working in a technological department, he might give a prime importance to his career development, and if that career prospect, if he is not provided with a challenging work environment, he will be dissatisfied. Certain employees might give prime importance to working as a team, and if they don't have a good team to work with, they would be dissatisfied. Certain employees might give more preference to the incentives or the rewards or the payment or the compensation, and if they are not provided with the right kind of compensation or benefit, they will be dissatisfied. Sometimes employees will be looking for proper kind of a communication channel or a proper manager or supervisor who would give recognition, who would give the proper kind of support from their side, and if he is lacking that kind of recognition or that kind of a support in the kind of work that he is performing, he will be definitely dissatisfied. So the kind of satisfying factors and the kind of dissatisfying factors would differ from employee to employee. So the companies need to conduct a survey, and they need to get a consolidated data regarding and once they do a survey, they would get the response from the side of the employees, and they need to make a consolidated data regarding the satisfying factors within the employees and the dissatisfying factors among the employees. And once they receive this kind of a data from the employees, they would be able to create a percentage analysis where these many percentage or accounted employees have spoken that this particular factor has proven to be the most dissatisfying factor, or this particular factor has proven to be the most satisfying factor in the company. So when we accumulate all these data, we would be able to find that 3 or 4 dissatisfying aspects which are being voted by most of the employees who are working in the company. So in that way, a company needs to identify those dissatisfying factors which is prevailing in their work environment, and they need to come up with ideas then in order to deal with those particular aspects. So initially they will be conducting a survey, and they would be trying to understand these causative factors within the company. And for this they would be taking the use of sampling technique like the Likert scale, or they would be using open-ended questions to ask the employees regarding things that would make them feel satisfied when performing their work in the company. So when using the Likert scale, it would be the employees would be presented with a bar scale of 5 or 7 in certain cases, where there will be satisfied, or there will be a certain criteria, or their percentage level of satisfying factor would be specified in that particular Likert scale. And there will be in certain cases we can provide them with an open-ended question in which they will be able to give their feedback as to why they are feeling or in order to substantiate regarding their opinion regarding a particular question that is being provided to them. So in open-ended question, it would be much more elaborative type, but when it comes to closed-ended questions, it would be much it would be a short version of it. And so once we get an update regarding once we get a result from the side of the employees and an output or feedback from the side of the employees, will be able to take action accordingly. So some of the cases in which there might be a negative working environment within the company needs to make sure that they need to develop a kind of a positive working environment, so that it would boost the morale as well as the performance of the employees who are working in that particular company. And for creating that kind of a positive working environment, they need to make sure that proper kind of a communication is being happening between the employees and the employers. So once there is a proper kind of a communication that is happening, they would be able to communicate any kind of dissatisfying factors to their employers as well, and they would be able to identify it at the point of time itself, in order to make sure that those kind of factors have been dealt with at that particular point of time itself. So once we try to communicate in a better way, it would give more clarity to the kind of thought which happens between the team that is working on. And once they have a clarity of this thought through communication, the work output would be much better than expected. And next important aspect which is required in order to create a positive kind of working atmosphere is to create a good relationship between, not just within the team but also within the manager or supervisor who is directly working with that particular team as well. So once that kind of a relationship happens, they would be able to communicate their important aspects, the key important satisfying factors, and satisfying factors could be easily identified without even having to go through or even without having to go through a test survey or anything like that. Next important thing is, certain cases most of the employees will look for respect and recognition for the kind of performance, work performance that they have performed in the company. So if they are not getting the right kind of recognition for the kind of work they are performing, there might be a chance that their stressful levels will rise, and they will be looking for a job change. They will try to switch out from that particular position, and the company in turn will lose a particular quality resource who is performing exceptionally well. So in order to deal with that kind of a loss, or in order to retain that kind of employees from the organization, they need to be provided with the proper kind of recognition and respect. And irrespective of the fact that each of the employees might have their own dissatisfying factors, most of the employees would require a respect and recognition from the company side, or at least they would expect it from the company for the kind of work they are performing. So another important aspect is the active involvement in decision making. Once the employees have been actively involved in decision making in a particular case, they would be feeling much more actively involved to perform it much better. So they would feel that they are also a part of the company. They would get a feel like they are also being valued in the company. Their opinions or their decisions also matter within the company. The employees would get a feeling like that, and once we give them an opportunity to involve them in the decision making process. So it is another important aspect. And another criteria is the knowledge sharing system, and create a learning opportunity for the employees who are working within the company. So if they are provided with a learning opportunity in which they will be exposed to a scenario where they have to deal with a particular challenging task, even if they feel a little stressed out at the moment, they would be able to learn much things, and they would feel that the company is providing them much more challenging, thus much more career development opportunities to hone their skill sets and all. And another important aspect is creating the welfare and recreational activities or programs for the employees who are working in the company. So if they are provided with these kind of aspect, they would be more satisfied with that. The company is doing things. They would get a mindset like the company is doing things for them. They are valuing them. They are providing with the proper kind of recreational programs and everything for the employees to feel stress-free from their work. And normally companies could also create an employee redressal system or a redressal program, where if and whenever a situation arises where an employee feels stressed out or gets more anxious regarding a particular kind of work they're performing, they feel dissatisfied regarding something, they could approach the employee redressal system, and they could give their feedback, or they could give their opinion like this kind of a thing must be changed, or suggest an opinion like a particular thing could be adopted within a particular company, so that they would feel much more satisfied in the company. So these are some of the core important aspects that companies need to make sure that that is being provided to the employee, so that it meets with the employee's expectations and improves the employee satisfaction.